Hello, this is Martin Ed. I'm the minister at St Silas Church in the West End of Glasgow, and just putting out there a couple of Christmas posts for people who perhaps are interested in thinking a bit more about what Christmas is really all about and wouldn't go to church. On Sunday night at St Silas we had lots of guests as we had a full church for our Carols by Candlelight service. And we thought about how you might summarise Christmas yourself in 3 words. And the first word that I had for Christmas in 3 words was history. If you look at Luke's account of Jesus' life, he begins it like this. He says, "I myself have carefully investigated everything from the beginning, so it seemed good also to me to write an orderly account for you, so that you may know the certainty of the things you've been taught." So Luke believes that what he's writing is historically accurate so that we can know the certainty of the claims of Jesus of Nazareth, the claims of the first Christians who knew him. And when it comes to talking about the birth of Jesus, Luke writes this: "In those days Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to his own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem in the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David." So it's all too easy and all too popular these days to look back on the Christian Christmas story of Jesus' birth as an inspiring myth, but nothing more than that. And yet that's clearly not what the first Christians thought. It's not what Luke thinks. He doesn't start his account by saying a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, he roots what happened in a real point in history. Maybe you're somebody who is very unsure about that. You might describe yourself as agnostic. I heard recently about a guy who was a church pastor, and he was on a plane and he was sat next to a guy, and they got talking, and the guy said, "Well, I'm an agnostic." And the pastor said to him, "Oh right, well where do you go to church?" And the guy said, "Well, I don't go anywhere. I'm agnostic." And the minister said to him, "Well, if you're agnostic, so you're saying that you don't yet know enough to be able to tell whether or not God exists. You don't feel you've yet seen enough. If that was me, I would be at church at least once every 2 weeks, so that I could keep investigating." It's challenging to think of it like that, but I guess the issue is that Christianity offers so much. If it's true, then the consequences of how we respond to Jesus are eternal. And what Jesus claims to offer on that first Christmas to all of us is worth investigating. I was hearing recently about the new £5 note. I don't know if you've seen it in the news, but someone has engraved a little picture of Jane Austen on 5 of these £5 notes. They reckon if you can find one, if you get a fiver that's got one of those little engravings on, it's worth £50,000. And the guy who engraved them went into a bakery on the borders, and he bought a pie with one of those £5 notes 2 Mondays ago. And the people in the bakery recognised him, and yet they didn't check the fiver that they were given. And before they knew it, it had gone out in change, and it's in general circulation. The owner of Granny Jean's Bakery in the Borders said how disappointed he was that they let it go and not checked. He said it would have made a brilliant Christmas for him. I'm sure it would have done. 50 grand when you thought you were only getting a fiver. But they didn't check. And I'd want to urge you that the Christian claims about that first Christmas would make your life, not just Christmas, happy and special and joyful. So why not check them out? Check them out by coming to church at St Silas. We have visitors every week who are still making up their minds about who Jesus is, and we welcome that. And in the new year, starting on the 15th of January, we're running a course at St Silas on Sunday evenings for 7 weeks called Life Explored. It's a chance to think about what we're really living for, what we think life is all about, what will give us true happiness, and to investigate the claims of the Bible about who God is and what he can offer us to make sense of our lives. Why not join us on the 15th of January? But you might be thinking to yourself, I just don't really care whether or not the Christian message is really true and historically accurate. And so that's going to be the subject of my next post as we look at a second word for Christmas. Thanks for listening to this one.